Imagine having the time and money to follow your passions and live life on your own terms. Welcome to Podcasting Mastery, where you'll learn the secrets of podcasting your way to a stress-free lifestyle. Let's grab a cool tropical drink and then join James, Kimberly, and the Turtle in the Secret Beach Hut Studio.
Yes, this is James Martell here along with Kimberly Juchnowski.
Hello.
And again, we are tucked into the Secret Beach Hut Studio. We're glad that you've decided to join us. If you recall, in the last episode, we talked about a case study about a local business owner that has increased the number of new clients through his door by a whopping 1,700% using 5 simple little 3-minute audios. If you haven't had a chance to check that out, that would be episode number 4. I would encourage you to have a listen to that. I think you'll find some very interesting and exciting information within that episode. This week, though, we're going to be continuing our conversation about developing a lifestyle business so we can all, as usual, spend less time doing business and enjoying more time with family, more time traveling, and more time doing all of the things that we want to do. And it's for these reasons we focus on strategies for developing a passive monthly income stream and passive ways of developing new clients and customers for your business. So today we're going to talk about how to leverage your time by using audio to scatter your sales message all over the internet. Kimberly, how are you doing on this wonderfully beautiful day?
Oh, I'm doing spectacular. Sun's out, wind's blowing. Can't complain. Before we get into it, why don't we actually play a little Hawaiian music today? Help set the tone for the show, which is work less, earn more, and swim with the turtles.
Absolutely. And while you're doing that, maybe you can fire up the blender, get us a couple of little tropical drinks, maybe.
I think it's a margarita day.
Being that you're the bartender and all, so we'll leave. Maybe we'll better make up versions for now. We'll be good during the show. So, but you're right. Little Hawaiian music will be awesome.
For sure. So, like a lot of you have already seen and know that we have an infamous turtle in our logo. And we also talk about swimming with the turtles a lot. So that's actually more James's things. I was thinking, why not dolphins or jellyfish? No, I'm kidding about the jellyfish because they're not good. Bad experience there. But why don't you tell me about the turtle story? What's up with the turtle? Why you want to swim with turtles? Have you swum with turtles? What's the deal?
The turtle stories. First of all, where is the little bugger? I haven't seen him for a while. He's got to be around here somewhere. Hunt him down. Now my other turtle story was actually on the island of Maui, and very interesting. I'm probably maybe the only person that's ever happened to in the world. Maybe not, but I'm sure this hasn't happened very often. I'm literally out in front of Black Rock in the beautiful beach area for the Sheraton Maui where we were staying at the time, and we're there with our youngest daughter Victoria, and we're out there just kind of snorkeling, head down, just kind of toddling along, not watching where I'm going, just kind of looking down, and beautiful ocean. I mean, just crystal clear blue water. You can see 100 feet down, beautiful tropical fish, and I'm just kind of enjoying myself. Beautiful warm Maui summer day, ocean breezes, the whole beautiful Maui experience. And I'm just kind of swimming along, and all of a sudden, boom, I swam right into a sea turtle. And I look up, and there's this big green sea turtle, and I'll never forget, he just kind of turns around and looks at me, and he's continuing to swim. He's not swimming any faster. He's not fearful or nothing. I could just look at him. He looks right at me, and I could just hear him. He's like, dumb tourist. And he just keeps swimming along. And that's the turtle. That's the whole work less, earn more, and swim with the turtles.
And hopefully not run into them.
Well, he didn't seem to mind, and I'll never forget it. So I encourage everybody who maybe have not had a chance to, visit Hawaii, to definitely get over there. Maybe check us out in the Secret Beach Hut Studio if you can find us, and have some fun with it. The turtles are amazing. So, but again, turtles in this context really stands for freedom. So you can if you want to make it work less, earn more, and swim with the dolphins, Kimberly, that portion's all yours.
Excellent. That's a good thing. No, I wouldn't mind swimming with turtles. That would be pretty amazing too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, definitely would be good. So let's jump into what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be discussing an agency, Smarter Chaos. Friend of ours, Matt Frary.
Absolutely. All in the context of leveraging your time by using audio to scatter your sales message all over the internet. And yeah, you're right. Matt's a great friend of ours. You've met him. I've known him for years. He's got an advertising agency in Castle Rock, Colorado. I guess those are the Rocky Mountains. Yeah, those would be the Rocky Mountains. We have the Rocky Mountains here in Vancouver, in British Columbia as well, British Columbia and Alberta. So I guess it's the same Rocky Mountain. I'm really sounding like a dope all of a sudden, but it's got to be the Rocky Mountains.
This isn't a geography show. It's fine.
Hey, good. John Denver, Rocky Mountain High. Yeah, it's the Rockies.
You have your head in the islands, not the Rockies. That's the issue there.
You bet. So I was just gonna say. So in Matt's case, he, like probably most other business owners, I won't say small business owner in his particular case because they're a multi-million-dollar advertising agency, and I've watched him grow this business from basically an idea into the powerhouse that it is. But he like Cale, Dr. Cale, busy as a bee. He is the head of the company. He founded it. He's the founder, and he called him the CEO, but his actual title is Chief of Chaos for Smarter Chaos. Best title in the world.
Yeah.
And in his case, he was looking to leverage his time and communicate his message to his audience, in a lot of cases to his existing audience of thousands, but also to use it as a platform to penetrate the industry and to build more business than the usual type of thing that you can do with audio. The calls to action, give them a call, all that type of thing. But in Matt's particular case, we put together for him Chaos Makes Sense, and that's the name of his podcast. And you know, it's been an amazing ride for both of us to do it. I'm the kind of guy, you'll hear, I'll play a little clip from it in a moment. But I had to actually bug him to do this because he was like, he had all the excuses I hear. I don't have time. Who wants to listen to me? All that stuff. So we got through all of that. And then, you know, all of the I'm too busy. I don't have time. What am I going to talk about? Who's going to want to listen to me? All the common objections that many of us have just because we're not quite sure if we're going to do this or not, or what the benefits are, or is it actually going to work? So in that particular case with Matt, I think you're going to find that not only did this work, it really worked well.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It solves his problem, right? For people who don't have time, this is the best solution. And when busy business owners, especially people in the digital marketing space, realize that I only need to show up for 30 minutes to do this and get all this content out there, it's really a no-brainer. It's it's a very good solution to the time constraints that a lot of people like Matt face.
It truly is, because the information that he shares in his podcast, he has to either share it one-on-one, over and over and over and over again, which is very, very time consuming, or he could share it once in a professional setting like a podcast, and then he could use that to leverage his time. And that's one of the things we talked about, how to leverage your time with the podcast. Once you have that audio working for you, you only have to record it once. And if you structure it in the way that we recommend, where you're not talking about dates and times, things like that could stale dated, you have an evergreen piece of content here that could work for you for years. So, and then you can scatter it all over the internet, which we'll talk about shortly. So I'm a huge fan of this strategy.
Yeah, me too. Speaking of time, actually, we're coming up to a short break. So when we return, we'll actually talk about Smarter Chaos. Chaos Makes Sense, all about what we did for Matt Frary and how his show's going and how podcasting 30 minutes a week can benefit the busiest of business owners. So let's cut to break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
More Podcasting Mastery with James and Kimberly from the Secret Beach Hut Studio after this. Would you love to spend less time doing business and more time enjoying your family, more time traveling, and more time doing all of the things that matter to you most? Whether you're looking to develop a passive monthly income stream or you're looking for passive ways of generating new clients and customers for your business, James Martell's free podcasting webinar is the place to start. James Martell, an 11-year podcasting veteran, will show you how to quickly and easily launch a podcast that will impress all who hear it to attract all of the clients and customers you need, and how to do it all in less than 1 hour a week using equipment you already own. Register now for this lifestyle and business-changing webinar at podcastingmastery.com/webinar. We'll see you there. Once again, that's www.podcastingmastery.com/webinar. Now back to Podcasting Mastery from the secret Beach Hut studio.
And we're back. Hey, James, you still around?
I am here.
Okay, I realized that you went out on the deck there for a couple minutes, so just want to make sure you got your head back in it.
I'm back.
Okay, good stuff. So we were talking about Matt Frary, his podcast, Chaos Makes Sense. So how about you just continue the conversation here and let's get back into the thick of it.
Sure. So with Matt, in his particular case, he was looking for a strategy, as I said, to be able to communicate well with his existing audience. And that was primarily, in that particular case, his email list. So his newsletter subscribers, so we could send it out by email. Also, he wanted some content for his website. Well, the beautiful thing about a podcast, in his particular case, we do it weekly, and each week a fresh episode gets added to the website with the show notes, are all SEO friendly, so they have the opportunity to rank well. The podcast, he also wanted to have some additional content that he could share on Facebook and on Twitter and his other social media properties that he works with. And he just wanted a simple strategy that could be employed that would give him a voice in the industry and something that he could really run with. But the caveat was it couldn't take him a lot of time. So we happened to structure it in such a way that we could get everything done for him, with him, in less than 30 minutes a week. And we still continue to do that for him today, and then we take it from there with all the heavy lifting. Now, if you're going to produce your own show following our strategies and our systems, you need to budget yourself time-wise an hour a week to do a decent 15 to 20 minute episode per week. So that, to me, is the opportunity here. And when we talk about scattering the message all over the internet, I'll talk about that in a moment. Let's do this. So let's cut to Matt. Let's have a listen to what Matt had to say about starting a podcast. And you'll hear a little bit of his resistance, and then you'll hear the reasons why. And see if what you hear, Kimberly, and to our friends listening, see if any of this resonates with you.
So Matt, kind of going along with that, what was the reason you started this podcast?
Well, because James bugged me on a weekly basis, telling me how I had to have a podcast, and I said, James, I just don't have the time. I'm too busy, How could I possibly get the content? Where would I find the guests? How many people are actually going to want to listen to me? I mean, nobody wants to listen to me drone on and on about things. And James showed me some of those stats and really showed me some of the work that he's done on some other podcasts, and it became abundantly clear that there was a huge piece of the engagement puzzle as a brand that Smarter Chaos was missing. I mean, if we really truly want to effectively be evangelists for this industry, and we want to be thought leaders in some capacity and try to espouse best practices, there's no better platform than an audio channel where our target audience can engage. And then we put this together, and he showed me how quickly it could be done in maybe 30 minutes a week. It was a no-brainer. I mean, why wouldn't we do it? 30 minutes a week to reach tens of thousands of people and lead a conversation in stuff that we're interested in. I mean, it's a great way to get our brand out.
All right, so there you go. So I think Matt pretty much said it. 30 minutes a week to reach tens of thousands of people, it's a no-brainer. And when you're looking at the internet, and in his particular case, he has an existing audience, but also we talked about how he can share it with his newsletter, to his newsletter audience. He's got a substantial email newsletter. So each week, that podcast is set up to send out to his audience automatically every Monday morning at 9 a.m. So every Monday morning, he's got a fresh new email newsletter going out the door, and one of the components of that newsletter is a little descriptive text about the recent episode that they just recorded, a little excerpt, and then a link back to his website where they can now listen to that show. So that gives them the newsletter content, gives them the content for the website, share the content for his social media, but also when we talk about scattering your sales message all over the internet, and you've had the opportunity to set this up, talk about the podcasting directories such as iTunes and Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spreaker. You know them all. You set up clients and you set it up for your own stuff with all these networks.
Yeah. So I want to speak also like how you mentioned the content that goes out. Really, what these podcasts do is they solve a content problem. So a typical person like Matt, like a very, very busy CEO, they're in the digital marketing space or advertising space. These are industries where you need to be visible online. You need to be putting out content, because if you're not doing things yourself, which you're telling, clients, this is what we do, it doesn't look as good, and it's difficult to be everywhere all the time, especially when you're that busy. And a lot of people worry about, keeping their blog updated and all of these things, and just being everywhere in their space that they should be. So it does solve that content problem. You take 30 minutes or an hour a week, and it doesn't just go on your website, on your blog. It goes everywhere. It feeds into your social media. It now powers your newsletter. And then you can tap into other audiences, right? So you're not just getting your audience from your website and your audience from your newsletter. You're tapping into other large existing audiences. So on the podcasting platform, say, when you create your podcast, usually you would host it in one podcast platform. We often use Spreaker. It's really great. They've got their own analytics and everything like that. And then you use that API to feed all of the other podcasting directories. And the thing is that each of these directories, they all have their own audiences. So you're not just reaching the same people all the time, you're expanding it like a web, right? So you go and you set it all up, you have it feeding all of your own stuff, and then you have it on the iTunes, we've talked about on past episodes, the Blueberry PowerPress plugin. So what that does is it allows you to feature the audio at the top of the posts on your website, and that actually integrates directly with iTunes too. So once you've got your podcast on Spreaker, on Blueberry, it feeds iTunes. So now your content's there and it has a chance to rank independently in all these places. You can put it on Podomatic, you can put it on Podbean, you can put it on Stitcher. Once you gain a following, you can get submitted into TuneIn, which is a huge one. I use the TuneIn app all the time. It's a great app. So it lets you access actually local radio stations and millions and millions of podcasts, which is amazing. And that's the thing, is that people have all of these podcasting apps on their phones already. It's already installed. Like Apple, you automatically have podcasting platforms literally in your pocket. So you aren't just getting in front of your customer's computer or in front of their email. You're literally walking around in their pocket. They have access to you 24 hours a day, whenever they want, however they want to digest your information, they can. So they're not tied to the computer. They don't have to go and look at your blog. They don't have to open up your email. You're there at their disposal, so they can pick and choose when they can access you. And I think that really helps too. It doesn't give the opportunity for them to miss out on your content, because it's basically at their fingertips. So if somebody has time in their car, or they're going on a walk with their dog or something, it's so easy to just go in your pocket, hey, boom, boom, open up an app, one of these podcasting platform apps, and check out Smarter Chaos. Now you're getting the content on demand, right? So it really helps with your reach in a massive way.
Sure, and let me add to you brought up the content problem. This is such a good topic, because the reason people do not succeed online, and I don't care what business they're in, if you do not have a content strategy in place to add fresh content to the web every single week, you will never win in the online world. And podcasting actually becomes the content that will let you win, because if you're producing a show every week, as Kimberly said, you add it to your website, but also I talked about social media, but Kimberly brings up these podcasting directories. Once this is set up, this is all automatic. automatic. She mentioned a feed. It's called an RSS feed, and we'll talk about it in upcoming shows how this all works. And it's really not rocket science. But once you take the feed from the place you're hosting your website, and you just go drop it into all of these podcasting directories one time. You only need to do this once, and then next time you update your show, everything gets updated automatically. And this is what I call the audio broadcast network, because if you set this up properly, this is why we can say if you're doing it yourself, you can do this in under an hour a week, because if you set it up properly, every time you publish a new show, your website will be updated, your newsletter will be updated, and I mean automatically here. Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn will be updated. YouTube will be updated with fresh content. So what do we got? 5 or 6 different sources there. Then Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Blueberry, and a number of other podcast directories are also all set up. But and on top of that, not only, as Kimberly said, are you in front of new audiences within those platforms, we are also, and let me just put a caveat here, we are also accustomed, because Google is such a dominant player, to think, well, how do they find us on Google? And I'll be guilty of that as well. When it comes to these podcasting directories, the absolutely critical thing to understand, just like people are doing a Google search to find content, iTunes has 1 billion podcast subscribers. 1 billion people in iTunes searching, doing not a Google search, they're doing an iTunes search, or they're doing an iHeartRadio search, or they're doing a Stitcher search. So,
and within each of these platforms too, Spreaker's got its own search algorithm, Blog Talk Radio has its own search algorithm. So now you're ranking in all of these other places internally in these apps, right?
Exactly. And if I may add to that, if you take the time, once you've created your episode, your audio content, you then create some SEO friendly show notes. So let's say you're a local business owner. We're doing this for a funeral home in downtown Vancouver. They've just recorded their 54th episode. Every time we write the show notes for their episode, we are targeting the local audience there in the Vancouver market. So you can organize each episode to address a particular topic that people are searching for, and yes, get found in Google. That works really well. But also, if somebody happens to be in iTunes and does a search for a particular topic pertaining to you locally, they're going to find you as well. So the opportunity and the power of podcasting to leverage your time and then scatter your sales message all over the internet for people to find you, I think it's probably the most powerful strategy there is, currently in 2015. Without a doubt, in the last 10 years that I've been working in the podcasting space for 11 years, today is the day that people should be seriously starting a podcast.
Definitely. I think it's worth mentioning too, with all the podcasts out there and with it gaining such huge popularity and people are like, yeah, I need to start this, I need to get one out. There's a lot of people who aren't actually setting it up in a way that it is searchable. So within these podcasting platforms, there's usually a lot of text that you can add, right? So there's a WYSIWYG editor, you can add text to accompany your podcast. People aren't always filling these out, so it gives you an advantage. If you're getting the right guidance and you're doing this the right way from the get-go, then you're going to outrank these people within these applications because they're just simply not adding the text, adding the keywords, tagging things properly, and also not inserting proper calls to action, right? They're just sort of leaving their podcast out there for people to listen and then walk away. With ours and Matt Frary especially, there's always a very strong call to action. Hey, we can provide this service to you. Contact us now. Get in touch. We'll help you out, right?
Absolutely, and it's a big thing that, as you said, a lot of people miss. It's very similar to what the mistakes people make in iTunes. In YouTube. They publish a video, but they don't take the time to write a decent headline. They don't describe what's in the video. There's no keywords there for people to search, and then they wonder why, after a year, they've only had 79 views on an amazing video, but they didn't give the text there for people to actually search on it. So so just your show notes, after you've developed your audio, your show notes are everything, because it's the words that people are searching in YouTube and iTunes and Spreaker. Your show notes is what's driving the search results in all of those platforms. So it's critical that you create awesome show notes. But I can see, Kimberly, it's time for us to shift gears a little bit. And I guess, I think we could probably kind of tie it back here. Again, we're talking about developing strategies, or a focus on strategies, for both developing a passive monthly income stream and passive ways of developing new clients and customers for your business. So like we talked about with Cale when we talked about the audio attention grabber in the last session, where he created those 5 little audios that are now working for him for well over a year and will probably continue to work for him for years. Same with what we're talking about with Matt here. He's got 40 plus episodes now published, and if you think about that, he's got 40 episodes on his site, he's got 40 episodes on YouTube, 40 episodes on iTunes, and all in front of different audiences, 40 audiences on Spreaker, etc. And all of that content now is working for him. Those audios are not going to work for him for just a week. They'll work for him next week, next month, next year, 2-3 years from now. So again, we're talking about developing passive ways of developing new clients and customers for your business. Now here, you can hear the helicopter. That would be Blue Hawaiian helicopters there. Have you ever been on a helicopter?
Never. That scares me. Helicopters are like bungee jumping to me. I'll jump out of a plane. I'll skydive, no problem. I did it twice in a row when I went for my first time. I was like, put me back up there. But there's something about bungee jumping. No, that's not going to happen. I feel that way with like planes and helicopters too.
Really? Helicopters to me. The first time I went on a helicopter was in Maui, and Blue Hawaiian helicopters.
Yeah.
And it was a windy day, and literally we just lifted off. It was like a magic carpet ride.
Yeah.
Just floated through it. It's not like an airplane with big wings that you're getting buffeted around.
That's the thing. It's like you're suspended in air.
Yeah, your magic carpet ride. So up the coast, over the beautiful waterfalls, up the road, up to Hana, looking over George Harrison's estate. He was alive at the time, and they gave us kind of the tour of the mountain of the island with the helicopter, and then they landed us at the airport in Hana, which is a little airport at the top end of the island. And then fed us lunch on a beautiful black sand beach, and then piled us, Arlene and I, into a limousine, and 3-hour road back through the road to Hana, and popped off at the waterfalls and got Arlene flowers and all kinds of stuff. But so sorry, the helicopter threw me off. But again, this is why we do this, right? Passive monthly income, so we could travel more, spend more time with our family, more time with our friends, doing the things we want to do. So anything to do with marketing that we can create that can work for us ongoing from a one-time effort, to me, it's a absolutely big deal. Which I think will lead me nicely into my podcast of the week. This week is a Hawaii Aloha Travel, and it's a podcast by Bruce Fisher, and the name of the company is actually that, Hawaii Aloha Travel. And it's not only is it an exceptionally good podcast with 709 episodes covering Oahu and Maui, Kauai, Lanai, Molokini. Talks all about Hawaii culture, events on the islands, entertainment, cruises, hotels, covers the full gamut. Not only does he do that, but he's got a killer website as well, and he's in the travel business on Hawaii. So what an exceptionally good example of using podcasting at a very high level to slaughter, probably not a great word for Hawaii, his competition. I would not want to be in the Hawaii travel business competing with this guy with this website and 709 episodes working for him automatically every day, promoting his services and the islands and everything that he's doing. And I'd encourage everyone to go check this out, Hawaii-Aloha.com/podcast. So Hawaii-Aloha/podcast. And his episodes are typically around 15 minutes each. One thing I love about it is each intro, and this is a big job, every episode that I listen to has a different bit of Hawaiian music that plays at the very beginning.
Nice.
So it is nice. As for what I don't like about it, there's nothing I don't like about it. I for a minute there, I couldn't find the date each episode was published, but it's down at the bottom of the show notes in the bottom left-hand corner, and he actually says the date at the beginning of every episode. So that's pretty cool. So again, check it out, Hawaii Aloha Travel. At hawaii-aloha.com/podcast. If you're looking for a way to really compete and get out ahead of your competitors in whatever industry you're looking at, take a look at what Bruce Fisher's doing there. It's quite amazing.
Did you want to actually give us our podcast tool of the day too, James?
I could do that. I'm actually working in one right now called Optimized Press, and I think many listeners possibly already use this. And it's one of the most important tools that you could probably ever have as somebody working in the online world, if you're marketing any types of products or services, including, of course, your podcast. But essentially what it is, it allows you to create really high converting sales pages, landing pages, launch funnels. And I actually use a competitive product to it, just so everybody knows, called Lead Pages, leadpages.net. But Lead Pages is quite expensive if you're just going to be running a podcast. And Optimized Press does everything that Lead Pages does, just a little bit differently, but you end up with the same gorgeous landing page for somebody to subscribe to your newsletter, or to subscribe to your podcast, or to purchase your product, or if you're setting up a launch sequence, whatever you're doing. But it's Optimized Press, and you can find it at podcastingmastery.com/optimized press. And probably one of the most important tools that you can have, because again, just like Dr. Cale, it's one thing to get the visitor to the website, Dr. Cale, we talked about in the last episode. It's one thing to get them to the site. It's a whole other thing to get them to take an action. And you want to make sure you've got a killer sales page or landing page or launch funnel, whatever your desired action is there, because there's what a waste to get them there finally and have them just disappear on you because it wasn't quite set up as good as it could be. Mm-hmm. So let's do this. I can see we are unfortunately coming up out of time. Any final thoughts?
No, definitely go check out the podcast of the day, because Hawaii is fantastic, and who doesn't want to listen to that?
And just a reminder that if you have your own podcast or a podcasting tool that you want us to feature or want us to feature for you on the show, just email us the details to feature me at podcastingmastery.com, and we may just do exactly that.
Feel free to ping us on Twitter too. Sorry, I just thought I'd give a shout out to Twitter.
There you go.
You can ping us at Secret Beach Hut on Twitter.
And absolutely, and also you can visit us on Facebook at facebook.com/Secret Beach Hut. All right, Kimberly, bye for now.
Take care.
Thanks for joining us in the Secret Beach Hut studio. If you are ready to start your podcasting adventure and to learn the secrets of podcasting your way to a stress-free lifestyle, go ahead and download the free Podcasting Mastery Checklist at podcastingmastery.com/checklist and start your adventure today. But don't wait, the checklist won't be free for long. So be sure to grab your free copy today at podcastingmastery.com/checklist.